The turning, a lesson in relationships from the Count. I need assistance making a big choice. We've been co-workers for 18 years and married for 15 years, respectively, to my wife. We were attracted to each other when we first met at work, but our spouses were already married. When it came to divorcing our partners and getting married, we both acted honorably. We had one of the best marriages I've ever seen for the first 10 years. Our job is industrial merchandising and sales. We must therefore occasionally be apart, usually a week or so, sometimes even a month. She earned my total faith, and I did too. Thus, problems never arose. We had some really great times together. I made the spontaneous decision to travel to her place around September 1st, Atlanta, and give her a romantic weekend surprise. I have never done this before without first telling her. When I asked the hotel desk clerk what her room number was, he informed me that the Smith couple was upstairs in their room. I only used the name Smith to provide an example. It's not our name. She arrived at the door wearing a man's robe when I walked to the room. Another man was in bed when I brushed past her. I took off, flying home. Just before I left the hotel, she contacted me sobbing and admitted to having an affair with another man for a few months. To her, though, it was only a means of avoiding loneliness while we were apart. Since then, the only communication I've had with her is by phone or email, so I didn't buy any of it and still don't. The affair is over because she promised to be totally honest. She says as much, saying she will do everything it takes to make amends. My relatives are putting pressure on me to give her another chance because they want us to get back together. I want to know why I should do this. In our prior marriages, each of us had a child, who is now grown and living on their own. We are middle-aged, me at 45 and she at 43. Why should I even strive to get a woman when I know I can get another? Before, neither of us had cheated. We discovered we had a lot in common throughout our regular daily routine while working together in the same office. However, we were very careful and didn't engage in any flirtation until after our divorces. We didn't communicate much during that period because hers was final before mine was. If it had only been for one night, I might have given it more thought. However, this has persisted after her transfer to Atlanta in June. But how can I know that this is the only one now that this information has been revealed? She insists that they have only had 4 or 5 dates together and that this is the only guy. Generally, they just went out to eat, etc. I don't know anything about the other man. He is a black man in his 50s who appears significantly older than I do. His hair is nearly white and gray, and his build is similar. He bolted into the bathroom, shut the door, and saw me entering. I haven't asked my wife and I have no idea if he's married or not. I have no intention of doing so either. Those who claim that she and I cheated on our former spouses are something I kind of dislike. Nothing that we did was even somewhat disloyal. No phone calls, texts, kisses, bonding, or private talks. Nothing except routine work-related tasks. The only thing I could think of, given that we both had unhappy marriages, was that she was someone I could date. My first wife knew exactly who she was and didn't give a damn as long as we divorced. She is willing to do all of the things you listed, including taking a polygraph, and she called tonight. I wouldn't let her live in my house, so she sought for and got a transfer from the Atlanta route to a road in Western PA. She also swore she had cut off all communication with her mothers and the she was living with at the time. It is only in my name. I'm not sure if I would ever be able to sleep with her after what she did, nor do I know when or if I could ever trust her to be faithful again. She is tainted right now, and I am disgusted. I believe that even if she is telling the truth and everything is as she has stated, I will still need to put in a lot of effort to make amends. I've made the decision to file for divorce since, at this time, I don't want to spend the effort trying to make things right with her again. She sobbed naturally when I informed her this morning, and although I would never be able to see her again, she promised to do everything in her power to aid in my recuperation. She said that if I decided to give her another chance, everything would revolve around me, that she would demonstrate her loyalty, love, and honesty, and that she would do everything it took to save our marriage. It's hard to predict how I'll feel in a few months. But for now, I find her unbelievable. She's already demonstrated her regret with several actions. She said she didn't have unprotected bonding with him, showed me the NC email she is sending him, and offered me a list of local polygraph examiners. Iam is a widower who is not looking for an exclusive relationship, according to our conversation this afternoon. Just a duck buddy, though. My spouse claimed that it was only brief fun for her and had no real meaning. He was like a walking dildo, as she put it. It's really beyond my comprehension. She gives me royal treatment while we are together. At least 7 or 8 times a week, we get together. She indulges all of my whims, cooking me anything I want and dressing me in whatever I desire, or carry out my wishes. My name is permanently inked on her lower body, and makes a vow that she will only ever love me. She did, however, cheat. I am certain that she will be able to take care of herself in the event of our divorce, as we are both extremely wealthy. So why is she exerting so much effort to make amends? She was the ideal wife, I would have added, had I not caught her. Furthermore, I am aware that I will never come across a more stunning and submissive woman. Everything is illogical. I'm starting to believe that she may be carrying some unresolved issues from her youth or her time in college. She has experienced some trauma, which has affected the way she thinks. Her ex-husband once told me that their marriage was a nightmare, so I told her today that before I will even consider attempting to get her to start counseling and get some answers. She was constantly terrified of him, and they were constantly fighting. I'm curious if he struck her. However, in the 15 years that we have been married, we have seldom ever argued and have only had 3 or 4 fights. To add a word of caution, she once confided in me that she detested being alone herself above all else and would spend hours on the phone with me whenever we weren't together. I'm not sure what this means, if anything. We are splitting unless she can provide compelling arguments for keeping the marriage going, I informed her today. Whether we are married for 6 months or 60 years, she will always have the burden of evidence. It's over for good if I catch her telling even one lie. She is not allowed to use the internet or her phone, and I will always be able to find out where she is and who she is. And all of the money, even her paychecks, goes to me. This is only the beginning. In a few weeks, there will be a polygraph, but I won't let her know ahead of time. Without a doubt, unless she goes above and beyond to demonstrate her commitment, respect, love, and desire, the divorce will proceed, and that it is sincere. Either I'll know everything, or this will end. Not a single but, and, if. Additionally, I won't put up with any partial truth, or any falsehoods, going forward. Though talk is cheap, she has complied with all of my demands. She is essentially required to demonstrate everything, all the time. I won't be keeping any sort of eye on her. To my pleasure, she will keep an eye on herself. Until I'm confident that I have the whole story, she will carry out all of the hard work. If she is unsure of her motivation, she has to seek counseling to find out. Counseling or anything else. I need to know if she was abused or sexually assaulted. However, it is still up to her to take action. In the meantime, I'm divorcing, unless she can provide proof of everything. I'm fairly certain I'll find out whether there have been further males when she passes the polygraph. The examiner I've selected is among the best numerous divorce lawyers and law enforcement officials utilize, and it has an extensive list of references. In our brief conversation, he seemed fairly certain that he could extract the truth from her. Even though I'm not familiar with the process, I'm going to give it a shot for my personal comfort. Although she has given her consent, it hasn't happened yet, naturally. It's game over if she backs out. We're going to the poly on Wednesday afternoon, thanks to me. She believes we are going to have lunch together to talk about the divorce, and to offer her an opportunity to personally defend herself. I hate to be sneaky, but until we go to the examiner's office, I don't want her to have any expectations. I will have my answer and may then kick her out if she backs out or admits to having any further affairs. She is battling so hard to stay married to me, and that is one thing that really confuses me. I just so happen to say that perhaps we ought to get a divorce or have an open marriage so that we can both play together when we're apart. After that, spend the remaining time together. She broke down in tears and begged and pleaded with me not to kill herself if I was with another woman. Said that if I brought her back, she would publicly crawl on her stomach. How chaotic this is. The polygraph is a historical document that taught me a lot. They had slept together fewer than 6 times, as she had claimed before taking it, and that turned out to be accurate. Following the exam, the examiner expressed his high level of confidence in the findings, sufficiently self-assured to return my money if he is mistaken. The test indicates that she has only been with me and this man since the start of our marriage, and there haven't been any questionable contacts, text, or websites, etc. up till now. She's behaved well. What Polly is unable to explain to me is why. She has been a decent, faithful wife aside from this affair. What about her changed? When I inquire, she either replies she doesn't know or doesn't know. In any case, I am proceeding with the divorce. I have enough time to find a new lady, a true lady. In fact, my broker's office has a pretty attractive woman who has asked if I'd like to go out to lunch sometime. She's hot and 37 years old. We are having supper tomorrow, and I spoke with her today. Despite my good treatment of my STB ex-wife, this affair is too numerous for me to live with, even though it is the only one. It's my life, but my parents and hers will be horrified, and I refuse to spend it with someone who has so severely mistreated me and with whom I cannot trust. My wife was heartbroken when I told her over the phone that I was going out to supper with another woman. However, I was also shocked to learn of the affair. What now? In addition, I informed her that the divorce will not be finalized for 6 to 8 months, giving her the opportunity to demonstrate to me her love, loyalty, devotion, desire, and total transparency, and to be able to demonstrate it every day for the remainder of her life. That is not going to occur, my friends. Conditions like these are unlivable for anyone. Well, maybe she can pull it off, though. I'm not going to wait around for her to do it, though. I informed her that tomorrow I will publish a separation notice in the newspaper, and that I could see anybody I wanted to. I refuse to engage in a retaliatory relationship. My marriage is not officially over, but in my mind it is, save from the paperwork. Big, I am my own man till we are married again, but if she truly goes to the wall and I am confident in her, then maybe I will try a fresh marriage. However, I wouldn't bank on it. I have informed the other woman about my predicament, and she has agreed to go out with me as a friend in the hopes that she will be able to persuade me that we cannot reconcile, and that she would be a better fit. Oddly enough, I was approached by another woman at work. She is a vice president in the corporation and a stunning white woman. Why am I experiencing all of this? To be honest, learning that other women are interested in me has helped me feel better about myself and has eased a lot of the anguish. The response is straightforward. Since I didn't cheat, I'm not making any further efforts in our marriage. I'm not going to fix it because I didn't break it. I'm the kind of person who believes that once I make up my mind about anything, the other person has to accept it. Not me. What did I gain out of a marriage that I put 15 years into? An act of dishonesty. As a spouse, I'm not worthy of that. Why would I stay married to my cheating wife if there is another lady who deserves my affection and respect more than her? After hearing all of her justifications, alibis, and arguments, I'm not at all persuaded. I may never be persuaded that she truly feels regret for what happened. If I am, though, it's because she's made the effort to alter her conduct. All I can say is that I don't think she will do it. Though I don't think she has it in her, I would be ecstatic if she did. I take it that he cheated on her alone. She can therefore independently demonstrate the opposite. I am aware that both of us will attempt to resolve any marital issues. An affair is not the same. It's the W acting on its own initiative. S, with no regard or consideration for B's sentiments. S, all right, so she broke it and, if it can be fixed, she fixes it. She has till the divorce is finalized, but I'm going to enjoy life and stay open to opportunities in the interim. I know it's not fun to go through the inconvenience of a divorce, but I won't stay married to someone who cheats, even if they have changed, unless they are willing to be in my constant presence. If I urge her to quit her work, she will not have a social life that I do not approve of, and will, without fail, accommodate all of my requests. Recall that I called all the shots and she had to either prove she was obedient or leave. She had cheated, but I hadn't. It wouldn't have needed to be this way if she hadn't cheated, but she did. Indeed, I recognize her, or at least I believed I did. She has shown a great deal of resolve thus far. She has fulfilled all of my requests. Everyone we know, including our kids, our employment, and our church, has been made aware of the affair by her. Etc. Without hesitation, she accepted the poly and validated her statements. That's not quite enough, though. I will be in charge of all phones, computers, and our social life. She will have to go through IC. Additionally, she won't communicate with any men at all, unless it's okay with me. Until one partner commits adultery, a good marriage is between equals. The cheater must then fully submit to the BS if the marriage is to survive. Until the BS is confident that the WS is once again trustworthy. That's how I feel about it. She has one chance to prove herself before the divorce is finalized because she requested for it and because she was a decent wife for 15 years. I can always halt the process if she does. It's showtime if she doesn't. If she demonstrates that she is a kind, dependable, and faithful wife. And if that pleases me, the divorce is over and we may start a fresh, better marriage. I'm not cruel or callous enough to put the past over her head. I would be pleased if she could accomplish it. Simply said, I don't believe that is feasible at this time. She had 8 months to do the task, and she requested the chance. I don't call her names, by the way, give her a snarl, or mistreat her in any manner. It's not my actual opinion, rather, it's your projection, that I'm full of hate. All I'm doing is defending myself. I've made up my mind to have sex with any other woman I find. I will undoubtedly inform my spouse that there is no longer any chance of a reconciliation. I would never want to take advantage of her. I would have seen myself as a free agent till the divorce is final if she hadn't begged for the opportunity to prove herself. I will date, but I won't get physical until it's official, unless it's my wife, and then there are whole other issues. Do I find my wife's cheating offensive? Absolutely, and I'm allowed to be. Shall I treat her like a slave? Naturally, no. You and I both know that's not how a marriage should work. I'm practicing tough love. My wife has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she will never cheat, lie, treat me badly, and sleep with another man again. Not ifs, ands, or buts, not justifications, nor exceptions. I have to trust her completely. The same quantity I had before our marriage, or I'm done with her. I granted her the opportunity to do this when she asked to do so. We will start a new marriage, but it will take time, if she can manage it. She needs to demonstrate, nevertheless, that she is worthy of my time and affection. I'm not going to do anything to ease her transition till then, because we usually give more weight to things that require effort than to things that are simpler. I believe that what I am offering her is all that I have to offer. An opportunity. She needs to get her act together until the divorce is finalized. However, she sees the opportunity, and we both agree wholeheartedly. I refuse to suffer, weep, or beat my chest in grief while I stay at home. Deceive. I already suffer enough, why should I have to endure more? I'm consciously choosing to let the affair go and move on. She can accompany me if she can establish her worth. I will never get married to a woman that causes me concern or suspicion. Not me, but she needs to change. I was unaware of any marital troubles we may have had, and she never made an effort to talk to me about them. But until the situation is resolved, none of this matters. Two distinct dynamics exist. First things first, the affair needs to be resolved to my satisfaction. Second, we work together to rebuild our marriage. The main reason I date other women is self-interest. I see no reason why I shouldn't keep socializing since I enjoy it. I'm not naive, I know better than to engage in romantic activities at this time, but I also don't see why I should deprive myself of some friendly, non-physical enjoyment. I will definitely let my wife and the other women know if I do find another woman interesting. I have never tried to trick anyone, and I never will. I want to make it clear that I will be pleased to work just as hard as she does if she proves herself to be trustworthy and the affair is resolved to mend our marriage. But she has to put my needs first, last, and always during the 8 months until the divorce is finalized. I will never marry a horrible man, thus she needs to turn back into a nice woman. She virtually fell to her knees pleading for forgiveness when I let her into the house today to retrieve some of her belongings. She claims she will demonstrate her worth and that she has already applied for and been granted a transfer to the home office. She therefore plans to stop traveling. What the devil am I expected to do now that she's given me her credit cards, phone, and computer? We pay all of our expenses together, so I know exactly how much she spends and where it goes. I will have to give her an allowance now that I have her cards. This is becoming a major pain in the back every week. Following her absolution and confession, she declared, "Today, I am your maid, until I can be your wife again." What on earth is that meant to mean? She declared that, in the event of a divorce, she would follow my instructions, that she is currently more concerned with my recovery than anything else, and that she will stop at nothing to support me through this. She expressed her excitement for counseling and has consented to it. She is certain that her assault difficulties are what caused her to make such poor decisions. I've never heard of some of the crap. I'd never inquired, and she'd never told me about her early years. Hell, I had no idea this kind of stuff even existed. I was once told by her former spouse that she was cold, but I never saw any proof of it. Our bodily existence was excellent. I am the only male who has given her the big O, she informed me. I pondered whether she was merely flirting with me. The polygraph examiner said that she was telling the truth when I asked her about it. What then led her to cheat? If the bonding is not the main focus, what then is the topic? This has had to be the most unpleasant and frustrating thing I have ever dealt with. Attempting to comprehend drives me insane. I'm not sure if any of this can be completed prior to the divorce becoming permanent. I'm sticking to my schedule. I'm not going to waste any more time on this problem than absolutely necessary. I've always been a strong individual that is open to collaborating with others to find solutions to their issues. However, this is my marriage, and I will either see the affair put behind us or terminated within the time span required by my state's laws. I cherish my spouse. Maybe not enough, though, to stick with her for the long haul. Had this been an illness, such as cancer, I would have supported her till the very end. Anything and everything, even my own life, would have been given up for her. Alternatively, perhaps the better question is, what will she do to fix what she broke, including the issues from her childhood? How far will she go to put things right? And what would she give up to get her lost on her back? She claims that she will follow my instructions and do whatever it takes. She will tell me everything about her past, literally everything, and we will receive whatever counseling she requires. I suppose time will tell if it will aid in my recovery. As long as she either proves herself and the marriage improves, or as long as she doesn't and the marriage fails, I will recover just fine. Neither of the endings has frustrated me as much as the interim has. One thing that has always stuck out to me in my extensive research on these reconciliation websites is that betrayed spouses who were accommodative and forgiving nearly invariably end up divorced or in marriages that are characterized by mistrust, and it appears that it will take them years to move on from their romance. Numerous users have attacked me, accusing me of being hateful, harsh with my wife, and other things. They ought to think about this. I would never have given my wife another opportunity if I didn't love her. It's not that I'm trying to be mean, but I'm intentionally making things difficult for her so that in 8 months, I will be certain of one of two things. My wife can never be trusted, therefore I will either get a divorce and find a better lady, or she can be mine body, mind, and soul. Recall that if she had been faithful in the first place, none of this would have been necessary. I told her straight out that it makes no difference how close we are. Love and trust cannot be replaced by bonding, and the divorce continues. In addition to the bonding, though, she requested money to clean the house and pay certain bills. She assured me that she will do anything I want her to do, in bed or out, while wearing nothing but an apron. A few events have occurred about which I have not spoken. She has instructed her counselor to provide me with an update and address any queries I may have before she begins her IC on Monday. I am not sure if it is allowed or not for a counselor to respond to inquiries regarding a client, but she will if it is acceptable to my wife and compliant with the law. Last week, I visited the and told him what would happen to him if he ever got in touch with my wife. He was legitimately terrified. To be honest, I'm not sure what she saw in him. At my worst, he is far larger, older, and poorer than I am. I have quite a few possessions. I don't understand it because my wife said throughout the poly that the bonding wasn't very good and that she never came near to having the big O. She's not insane, but I've only recently learned of her problems. According to the poly and her mother's conversation, she suffered severe abuse at the hands of her father when she was a small child. Not physical, but verbal and physical, with a somewhat inflexible way of living. strengthened by regular thrashing. Her mother remarried to her stepdad after divorcing him, partly due of this. Everything about her, other from the fact that she had a stepfather, I knew nothing about. She loves me enough to genuinely work through her problems, which is one of the things that offers me some hope. Our communication channels have opened up due to the possibility of our divorce, to some extent, and she's sharing all of this fresh knowledge with me because of fear that she might lose me. She revealed to me that she had started considering ending the affair practically from the start, or rather, as soon as she had achieved her goal of having another man compliment her appearance. I genuinely believe that she needed a great deal of affirmation. In addition, she had a strained connection with her father, who rarely gave her affection. However, she is very angry and struggles with her self-image. It has been further undermined by the affair and the fallout that followed. She now believes herself to be a cheap woman rather than a lovely or honest woman. Not my words, this is who she calls herself. She understands that she will face criticism from friends, family, co-workers, and associates, and she is only now becoming aware of the extent of the harm she has caused. But she is a strong, resolute lady, as I have stated, and utterly repentant, therefore she will surely make a great effort to make amends and demonstrate that this affair was a terrible mistake. Well, I gave in to her persistent pleading and assurances of a delicious breakfast, so I let her spend the night tonight. She was extremely open about the affair, and we discussed it extensively. She admitted to me that the had acknowledged her beauty, and she fears she is aging. She claimed that she had no intention of getting personal with him at first, but after getting wasted with him, she felt obligated to repay him. I said that was bullshit, but it doesn't matter anymore. She sobbed for the better part of the evening, lamenting how disgusting and dirty she felt at moments and how she had lost all self-worth at other times. She is far more worried about me and her alleged betrayal of me. She says she'll investigate the reasons behind her actions and make amends. She also says she'd understand if I wanted to ignore every woman I saw and push her out, but she will show me that she is deserving. She will love me forever and never stop praying for forgiveness, even if I choose not to get a divorce. I've previously assured her that I will always be there for her during her treatment session, divorce or not, and that if anything positive comes out of this, it will be her learning how to deal with her past and her problems in a healthy way. Strangely enough, she started crying all over me and declared that I was the only man she had ever loved and would ever love, and that she will make me proud of her, even if it takes a lifetime. An update on my circumstances a few days later. My wife emailed the on Friday, and I learned that she is still in communication with him. It goes without saying that I'm done with it altogether. That same evening, I informed her that there would be no reconciliation and that she should remove her belongings from my home by the end of this week. The emails were benign and only reiterated her vow to never meet or speak to him again. She made no attempt to conceal them. However, I don't think that's good enough. I made it clear to her that we would not be speaking to him again. At all. She believed she owed him an explanation for her choice. Not nearly sufficient. It's finished, in my opinion, because she owes me everything and she owes him nothing. I shall go out on dates and see anybody I want from now on, since I am a free man. Tonight, I started the process of packing up her belongings, and it is rather difficult to say goodbye to 18 years of involvement. I've decided to put her in the past and move forward to the future. I've informed her family that my stepchildren will always be my children and that I will always regard them as friends. Needless to say, she has been apologizing profusely over the phone, via email, and via text even after the divorce. However, I believe that even her parents are now aware of her need for assistance. I believe that is all I can do. I assured her that if she chose to continue therapy, I would be there for her as a friend. What are the opinions of the people here? My sincere goal is to ensure that this shift is as smooth and polite as possible. Naturally, I'm still concerned after 18 years. Even if I still have feelings for my ex-wife, I wouldn't go back to her. But I do want them both to be content and well-adjusted. How well I seem to be handling all of this fallout has truly astonished me. The same woman we went on a date last week and I have another one coming up, and it seems really good. Like my father used to say, she's very intelligent and sophisticated, but she's also a lot of fun, and truly enjoys spending time with me. Among the voices telling me to give my marriage another opportunity was hers. She claims she has nothing personal against me and is open to a friendship based on mutual respect. Till the end of my formal divorce, I can only maintain my integrity and sense of self-worth by acting on my decisions. I made it very clear to her that she only got one shot, and that NC was one of the requirements. I refused to spend the next years worrying about a lady who is unfaithful to everyone, including herself and her own promises. I've seen a lot of stories of affairs going undercover, betrayed spouses finding the truth, the fog, and other absurdities. And I am just not going to have any of it. I have some terrible news. My spouse is under X-watch at the hospital. It was yesterday morning when she tried to do herself in. Since I told her that I would not be taking her back, she has been attempting to get in touch with me. She insists that she merely got in touch with the in order to provide herself and him with closure. Nothing about this can be certain. Now, though, I want her to get better and be able to overcome her problems. Was it a ploy to derail the divorce or was it a sincere attempt? I feel as though something has struck the side of my face, but I'm not sure. I haven't responded sooner since I've been seeing physicians and relatives. The attempt seemed sincere, and if not for the help of a neighbor, she would have found herself in danger. She overindulged in alcohol, did a number of things, and then realized what she had done. Went outside and passed out in the courtyard. Like me, her parents' neighbor has experienced combat and managed to halt her. Her prolonged stay in the hospital will involve intense rehabilitation. Therefore, I am delaying the divorce until she can take back her own life. The finest care will be given to her. I'm not sure how I'll handle the divorce in the future, but I promise never to leave her behind. I don't think luck has anything to do with anything while I'm alive. As I previously mentioned, I considered my vows to be quite serious. My wife has a mental health issue, just like anyone else. And when she's healthy enough to manage her emotional health and we can address the matter of a divorce, which is still very much my aim, I will take care of her to the best of my abilities. Her health comes first if there is any doubt in my mind about her capacity to be a devoted wife or to make amends. Then, what happens next will be advantageous to both of us. My comment: do you believe the wife is being serious or is she just playing games? However, Opus needs to withdraw from this relationship gradually. What happened next? After a few preliminary consultations, the hospital's psychiatrist concluded that although the childhood issues are more complex and would require more effort to resolve, the ex-suicide attempt was the product of a panic attack about my ultimate choice to divorce, without providing her an opportunity to prove herself. She claims that in a few months, she can bring my wife's behavior under control. Nonetheless, that she will spend years in rehabilitation. Every week, I will receive updates on her status and have a plan of action to follow. I am at this point right now. First and foremost, our marital status comes before her health. Some people contend that I ought to shirk my responsibilities, consider my own wants and requirements while letting her recover or not. I just cannot accomplish this without my assistance. In my family, we deal with issues as they arise. Our style isn't one of cutting and running. Thus, the circumstances are. There's no point in crying over what is. I am listening to my lawyer and my family on the one side, and the psychiatrist and her family on the other, and I am trying my hardest for her. It's helpful to receive unbiased guidance from someone who has experienced something similar in their own life. In the middle is where I am. I never asked for this, and I don't want to be. Still, I'm the one who has to put up with it. I was visited by a woman I went out to dinner with, and she handed me some books about adultery and suicide. She made me food and merely listened to my tirades and exclamations. I want to make it clear that I am not more likely to make amends because of my wife's previous attempt. I still intended to get a divorce, and the affair persisted. I will make sure she receives the greatest care possible for her mental problem, which I consider to be an illness, and I will never stop supporting her while she works through them. However, this does not mean that I will give up on pursuing my own pleasure. As I did nothing wrong, I will not take punishment. My female buddy is well aware of my predicament and knows me well enough to understand that I would never intentionally hurt her. Am I not entitled to some love and comfort, my wife or anyone else? Someday, when I get a little time to myself, I'll have to take a seat and attempt to address my personal problems and setbacks. My female friend prepared me dinner and listened to my tantrums, which was very sweet of her and made me realize that I too need to take care of myself. I've realized that no matter what, I will never leave my wife to get sick, but that he will do so as a caring and loving friend rather than as her spouse. I have learned that she will be moving into a group home for the duration of her stay after being released from the hospital 1 week from tomorrow. I am going to meet with her tomorrow afternoon to give her a basic history of our marriage and all of the problems we have been experiencing. I have secured her an appointment with one of the greatest psychiatrists, which preceded the former attempt. She informed me that she strongly supports marriage and thinks adultery is terrible and very damaging. The fact that my family also adores her greatly contributes significantly to the issue from the standpoint of mental health. I am ready to leave them all because they have condescendingly treated me, lied to me, abused me, and made me feel guilty. Left to their own devices. Do I have sympathy for her? Naturally, a great deal. Do I feel guilty? Naturally, all the time, but I've made up my mind and I'm sticking with it. Of course, I'll be thinking about her health, but I won't be the main driving force behind her rehabilitation. My friends, family, and her will each have to shoulder a portion of the burden. Many people tell me that I can do it all after speaking with the psychiatrist, but I can't. I've made up my mind to move through with the divorce. According to the psychiatrist, my wife has already come to terms with the end of the marriage, and after conversing with her wife, she seems to be accepting of it. I agree. This past weekend, my wife and I had a lot of conversations. She is very much in favor of our marriage continuing, but she also knows that it would be quite tough to reconcile given her psychiatric problem and the affair. I tried to be as positive as I could, and when she stated that perhaps we could try again later once she gets her act together, I didn't disagree with her. Even though I have no intention of getting back together, the psychiatrist told me that anything that deprives her of hope is bad and anything that gives it to her is good, so I know I probably should have. I should keep it to myself till her condition allows her to accept the reality. I got into a heated argument with her relatives this past weekend. While a few have offered encouragement, the most naturally hold me responsible for her state of affairs and illness. In response, I asked the doctor to share with them the details of my wife's early trauma and how it affected her behavior. However, they persisted in their argument that I ought to let go of the past. And in order to preserve her family's reputation and good character, I should never disclose anything to anyone. My patience ran out. I informed them that this was exactly how they operated, in a covert, cunning, and dishonest manner. That was the root of nearly every issue we had. In my family, we come up with solutions to problems together and then let the pieces fall where they may. They ensure that it is maintained a closely guarded secret after they conceal, elude, lie, and backbite. It seems that appearing concerned is preferable to doing action. To stop her, her mother requested that she be admitted to a hospital in a different state. Her mother's words, insanity, from getting out there. Some of the better ones are supportive, as I mentioned earlier, but the majority would prefer to lock her up. And be quiet. Who will care for her if not me? And what sort of care would she receive? What her family has done to her, I detest. She was a subdued, graceful goddess when we first met, similar to the chocolate Easter bunnies we used to get as children. While some were hollow, others were substantial. A hollow goddess, that she was. Update, I am aware that many will take issue with what I have to say. I'm aware that I'm putting myself in a difficult and drawn-out situation. However, I simply cannot divorce my wife. Since her attempt, I have given it a lot of thought and considered the advantages and disadvantages, but one thing has kept coming up time and time again. She's got no one else, try as I could to deny it. Her friends are our friends, her family is terrible, and our children, my family, and I are the only things she thinks about. She cheated, and I am aware of it. However, after 18 years of knowing and loving her, I'm aware that this isn't the kind of person she wants to be. I'm confident that she can conquer this and come out of it a stronger, better person with my aid. But with my assistance, my undivided attention and backing. I am also aware that I have the option to leave. However, what does that actually mean? That just like her, I don't really care about my vows from our wedding. In good times and bad, I vowed to love, respect, and adore. Yes, my spouse is ill. How should I proceed? I try my hardest to take care of her. In the end, whether it's better or sweeter, I know I'm a fool. But if I can get my wife better, I can live with being called a fool. She is my wife for the time being, and I am accountable to her and on her behalf. She needs me now more than ever since, as my wedding vows say, I'm probably the only one who will put in the effort to mend her. She sobbed for an hour after I informed her of my decision today, telling me that I am the only man she has ever loved and will ever love. Furthermore, it's accurate what she mentioned regarding the reason she spoke with the aunt. I assured her that we could handle those issues and that none of it mattered at the moment. When it was their turn, I explained my idea to her, and she instantly agreed. The hospital doctor recommended a psychiatrist, so I'm taking her to see him in Washington, D.C. He specializes with adult victims of childhood abuse. Her poisonous family will have very little contact with her going forward since we are leaving them. I am her guardian, thus I am in charge and I make the rules. It turns out that her mother came up with this concept, but she wasn't so much thinking about her daughter as she was worried about someone finding out and taking offense. We can determine whether or not we are after she recovers. If, at that point, neither she nor I are able to be, then I may go knowing that I fulfilled my obligations to my wife and kept my word about our marriage all the way through. I made the commitment to be a devoted Marine when I joined the Corps. I hold my pledge to this woman in the same reverence. I feel better tonight than I have in a long time, actually. She wailed as I held her in my arms, and all I could think about was how relieved I felt. Let's face it, I'm not sure whether I can forgive her. I'm not sure if I should even try. However, I do know that if I left her in the care of her family, leaving her scared, hidden away, and a source of disgrace, I would never be able to forgive myself. She is who she is when it's their fault. She did not elect to be oppressed, despised, and subjugated. And how awful is it that she was never able to obtain support since her parents, in particular, advised her to keep her emotions to herself. That the appearance of contentment is preferable to actual recovery. She would be healed by that prayer, and because the abuse was long ago, she should just move on. It's amazing, the doctor said to me, that she didn't have a breakdown much earlier. The guilt, regret, humiliation, and self-loathing resulting from the relationship. My decision to divorce her also served as a catalyst for her actions. When I questioned her about it, she told me that she didn't deserve to live since she felt so horrible for hurting the only man she ever loved. Just picture yourself experiencing that. I've been communicating with a DC psychiatrist. C and my spouse is heading there right away following the holidays, initially to a women's shelter. Next week, I'll be relocating to Georgetown as an outpatient and will finalize the arrangements after she's no longer deemed suicidal. I'm pleased that I won't have to deal with her toxic family as much, at least not directly, and I feel pretty good about it, and have what it takes for me to heal her. Yesterday, I met my wife's new psychiatrist. Furthermore, she is an extremely attractive white woman. The holidays went as smoothly as they could have. I accompanied her to her family's Christmas party because of the circumstances. but left quickly. The Christmas with my family was then much better and more laid back. Over the holidays, we spoke a lot. I didn't speak too much about the future, but she talked largely about how wonderful it will be when she gets better. To be honest, I've almost entirely decided to move through with the divorce, but I won't tell her about it until the doctor certifies that she is resilient enough to handle it. In summary, even though I think she genuinely regrets and would try her hardest to make amends, I no longer have faith in her, and my love for her has evolved from that of a spouse to that of a worried friend. An update every 2 months. Since relocating to Washington, D.C., I have been making every effort to cut off my STBX. Her sister and I are now guardians of each other. The one I like, with which I have divided our joint possessions and kept her belongings apart from mine. We had a prenuptial agreement, so money was not too difficult. Wife is still receiving intensive therapy, but her doctor anticipates that in 2 to 3 months, she will be able to return to an independent living with medicine. She is now on board with the fact that we will never get back together. She is regretful and filled with guilt, as she should be, but she has also expressed her desire for friendship and her gratitude for my support during her mental health issues. Although I've gone on a couple dinner dates with different women, I haven't gotten sexual with any of them yet. I have a certain woman in mind who I think would make a great buddy, but I won't take any action until we are officially divorced. After a month, my wife moved home with her sister, the one I like, because she was no longer deemed a risk, and I gave up my guardianship of her. Acknowledge as spouses. Her therapy sessions will go on for the foreseeable future. This depressing chapter should come to an end this summer as the divorce is moving forward steadily, but slowly. Although she acknowledges that the divorce is necessary, my wife has asked if we can still be friends once it is over. I also concurred. In my own life, I'm doing great and have started dating. Only dates that are not in person, despite the fact that my spouse has promised not to prevent me from going on an overnight date. Naturally, the majority of her family despises me for being a fair publicist. However, I don't care what they think because I won't be linked to them anytime soon. I feel better than I have in months about things, and the majority of our friends have been really supportive. The fact that I won't have to interact with those folks again is a huge benefit of getting divorced. I'm done with them, they're all conceited greed heads, save for one sister. Hooray! Furthermore, and this is even better, I am seeing a woman here in G-Town who I think has potential. She works as a physical therapist at the group home my wife manages for the hospital. We had a great rapport, and I saw her almost every day when I went to see my wife. I'm not generally drawn to white girls, therefore it's odd that she's a white woman. Approximately 5 years my junior, divorced, and had 3 children. She is in excellent shape, despite the fact that she is a college student and a high school student. One morning, she passed by when I was in the cafeteria. I then asked her if she wanted to have a seat, and the rest is history. We truly have a thing for one another and share a lot of similarities. However, we won't carry out the act until my divorce is finalized. I realize I'm talking a lot, but finding someone who is like her is so pleasant. A stunningly gorgeous woman with strong principles and ethics. Maybe this is starting to change for the better. At last, my spouse has a lawyer. He was gotten for her by her sister, the good one. And last week, he got in touch with my attorney, who got in touch with me as well, and stated we met over lunch to talk terms. I didn't realize how much my wife would agree to. Not only will we both take everything we brought to the marriage, but we will also take everything we have gained while being married, including money. Is mine, barring a few instances. The exceptions are things like gifts that we received from one another. She believes she doesn't deserve anything more because she is the one who cheated. Later, when a spot opens up on the docket, the final hearing will take place. Until then, we are in the waiting period of the divorce, which will go until June. At her sister's, my STBXW is thriving and has been given the all clear to resume work. Her mood is a lot better since she takes antidepressants when she feels like it. She will most likely spend a few years receiving rehabilitation. After a month, my new girlfriend and I are sleeping in bed when the STBX rings. She never stops talking about how much she needs and loves me and asking me to take her back. She will lick my boots, be my slave, and not protest if I sleep with other women. She breaks down in tears and promises herself that she will succeed the next time she tries to X herself. I get dressed, keep her on the phone, and am really worried while my girlfriend phones her sister to find out what the hell is going on. It turns out that she has been experiencing hormonal issues, which have interfered with her depression medication, after her sister brought her to the hospital once more. This is awful. Will things always be this way going forward? I feel like her emotional issues are holding me captive. I'm doing my best to be helpful, but to what extent? I suppose I have to help her get her act together as I don't want to be the source of her ongoing issues. Fortunately, my girlfriend has been a rock during this whole ordeal and is eager to lend a hand whenever she can. Soon after, she declared her love for me and her commitment to support me constantly. It's simply so gloomy. Even after the affair, I've always made an effort to treat her fairly and assist her in her hour of need. When will it stop, though? After much consideration, I've moved on and am starting a really great relationship. I just need a little peace of mind. I had to acknowledge that I needed to let go of my STBX. I visited her home, and we had a lengthy conversation about her circumstances, including the fact that I could no longer be her go-to person and that she would now need to rely on her friends, family, and medical professionals for assistance and care. I informed her going forward that I would not be present at the final divorce hearing and that she should contact my attorney for any matters requiring my attention. I have made the decision to try not to see her again and to end this chapter of both our lives. I won't be returning her calls, texts, or emails going forward. Instead, I will automatically forward them to her sister or her psychologist. Well, my D is final on Monday, 1 month later. Although I have no idea how it will turn out, nothing would surprise me. I'm feeling really good right now because the karma bus finally came down my neighborhood, parked in front of my house, and gave me a morale boost. At the end of July, my ex-partner and her sister will relocate to California. Her mother is among the humiliated family members who are ashamed that one of their members has visited a mental health facility, a group of self-centered individuals. The others are egotistical, avaricious, illiterate, and snobbish, but her sister is the best of them. One of the things I do have sympathy for her is that her family is horrible, but mine has always been there for her, especially during difficult times. My circumstances have significantly changed during her crises. I am starting a new relationship that is extremely different from the relationships I have known in the past. My ex-wife has moved to a distant area of the nation, and my marriage is gone. I've moved past my anger emotionally, but not my skepticism. I will continue to trust, but only to an extent. I still have a lot of affection for my ex-wife even after D, however. It's love for the person I believed her to be, not the one she tried to hide from me. Neither the person she turned out to be following the adultery. I've discovered that, contrary to what I had anticipated, I'm really a lot more optimistic about my new love right now. This isn't so much my fault as it is the result of my new girlfriend's behavior and temperament. I've thus mostly moved on from the affair. After 6 months, my partner and I are moving to the Windy City, therefore I won't have much time to spend online. I'm really looking forward to this because I've never lived in a city and everything is new to me. We are moving into what appears to be a large, vacant room called a loft. However, my woman finds it really cool. My opinion, the person in question made the proper decision and is now enjoying a better relationship. The ideal situation that you wish for. How wonderful that one is. Story 2. Our marriage has lasted almost 13 years, and we have 3 amazing children. My wife has experienced depression for the previous 10 years, which has caused her to become emotionally distant. Awful financial difficulties. Everything I have been forced to bear for my family, as well as a complete disregard for our house and surroundings. Unconsciously, I started to distance myself from the emotional relationship and try to concentrate only on the practical aspect, like taking care of the kids and earning enough money. We started going to a counselor, who has really helped me understand how I'm feeling. It was then that I recognized that, in my case, it had ended a long time ago. My wife asked me how I was feeling one evening, so I told her. While there have been occasional tantrums and tears, our interactions have generally been polite, considerate, and caring. In order to spend time with the kids in our house and cause them as little disruption as possible, I'm looking for a place where we can both utilize this as a bolt hole. Now that a few weeks have passed, I figured I'd give you an update. We had friendly conversations at first about how we would handle things and break it to the kids. Then one night she lost control of her alcohol and began hurling things, adding pieces of furniture while spouting insults at the same time. After a relatively tranquil week, the same thing happened again. Too much alcohol, abusive shouts about how I was abandoning my kids because she was sick, and questions about whether I would act the same way if she had cancer. Very vicious barbs, but I bit my tongue this time. I just informed her that I didn't want to argue with her. Nothing would benefit from it. Then came the following stage, when she started howling and chose to sleep on the sofa. I reached out to console her, but she brushed me off. She soon reached the point where she was experiencing a panic attack. After this continued for an hour. I had listened to her while I lay there, mostly out of fear that she would do something foolish and partially out of a desire to avoid waking up with a carving knife embedded in my back. She seemed awful, but I'm not sure if she would do one of these things. I had to soothe her for more than an hour before she fell asleep. The following morning, she acknowledged that she had a drinking issue and that she was unaware of her previous night's remarks to me. That day, we went to see our MC. I told her I wanted to move out and gain some space, and she said it was a wonderful idea, adding that my wife needed to focus on herself during that time. She also informed her that her actions were typical manipulation and that the only way she would be able to overcome her sadness and her attitude toward me was if she dealt with the issues from her past that had led to her dysfunction. It was enlightening to finally have someone who gets what I've been going through. I used to feel that I was the source of all of this angst and resentment, but now that I know better, I'm feeling very at ease. I'll now apologize for any potential rant that may ensue. We began this week by spending 4 or 3 nights at the escape house so that we could both spend quality time with the kids and time alone. I went to set everything up first. purchase a bedside television, etc. Every day while I'm there, I call my kids to wish them a good night and to inquire about their days. After that, I have to speak with STBX to learn how difficult it is for her. My 3 days using FF2. Oh no, she wants to return early, so I only get 2. And I have to finish the children's school books on 2 of my 7 days off. Stock her freezer, organize the home, take out all of the oven's grease, get school supplies for the children, give her an additional sum of money. All the children's school clothes are washed and ironed, and lunch supplies are bought. On Sunday, when I'm preparing a roast for them, she shows up and tells everyone she's having canned ravioli for supper. Since she is the children's mother, I can't go this far around her or in front of them. But Jesus, I could really use some guidance before I completely lose it. It has been an absolute roller coaster, this whole thing. I'm relieved to be free of the daily stresses that have been making me crazy for so long. To be really honest, the only times I tend to become really annoyed are when she tries to rearrange things with the kids and I have to deal with my STBX. I've been able to endure the abuse with grace and without being involved in tit-for-tat insults. I've been honest with the kids, and at the moment, I feel very okay about everything. It's funny how nothing seems to settle with this. Sunday, she dropped the kids off at home an hour later and left. She called me in the car with the kids, accusing me of being a self-centered prick for bringing them home late. After I assured her that we wouldn't argue, she hung up. She started on me the moment I got back. I informed her I wouldn't be staying for supper since I didn't want to quarrel in front of the kids. She screamed at me to go and never return. The children are all crying now, so I go around hugging them and telling them it's okay and I'll see them on Tuesday as scheduled. She follows me as I head out and starts criticizing me for being so egotistical and insisting that my weekends spent with the kids are all about me and not them. She requests the return of the key since she is tired of me stopping by her residence. I'm trying to remain composed the entire time, but she knows that criticizing me for how I raise my children is the worst thing she can say. I eventually succeeded in removing her from my car and leaving. I detested leaving my kids alone when I knew they were unhappy, and I detested finally losing it when she kept pushing. She apologizes via text the following day for ranting and says she doesn't want us to act this way. When will she get over her denial? Although she did believe for a long time that she could handle things on her own, she has been taking medication and receiving IV therapy for the past few years. The MC told her during our most recent MC session that she should talk to IC about the possibility that some of her problems weren't related to depression. Although there have been improvements, I erected strong barriers to protect myself because the relationship and the dependency were simply too taxing, and eventually came to the realization that I was no longer in love. Update: I broke up with my ex around Christmas. Spent the last 2 years in a loveless marriage. I've been chatting to a friend of mine a lot lately. We got close when she and her husband separated last year, and now we've gone too far and slept together. We both want to see where this goes because we are close. Far too soon. Though I don't think either of us is seeking something serious, I do believe that we have both been starved of intimacy in the past few years, and the other night we found some with one another. I don't really care how my friend and I handle things. We're large and unsightly enough to handle all of that. What worries me most is how it impacts children and the STBX. After a few months, we recently moved into a larger home with lots of room for the kids, a wonderful new girl, and friendly STBX. I told the kids about the new girl this past weekend, and they seemed to be alright despite some confusion. Everything returned to normal after 5 minutes, and we enjoyed a wonderful evening and the next morning. When STBX picked up the kids that afternoon, I told her that I had spoken to them and that everything was fine aside from a few tears. I was at band practice when I noticed the kids call. After a full day, I had wonderful phone conversations with the kids, sharing lots of love and information about their days. She then picks up the phone and starts talking. How dare I ignore the kids' phone call? I really need to reassess my priorities because I can't possibly believe that what I told them was acceptable. After I stopped talking and let her go, I texted her to let her know that I understood her frustration, but asked that she not get upset with me in front of the kids. The essay followed, which basically said that she did not approve of my circumstances and that I had destroyed our marriage. Probably because you were the only one who actually tried to help her get over her personality problems and depression, and that I thought they would all understand the situation by miracles. Then there was the outburst about answering a question that STBX had posed with my new girl's name. It seems like she is taking offense at this. Lastly, a Facebook post. When you don't understand something, how do you explain it to your children? I would greatly appreciate any advice that does not involve roasting her in boiling oil, especially if there's a way for someone to help her realize that she bears equal responsibility for the breakdown of the marriage. It's your turn now. My comment: do you guys have any suggestions for opus number 2? Is there a way to let her know that they are currently